All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Sportsman. As always, Mikey V. We've got Joey D. As always, he's the true as always. He's never missed an episode. Myself, Neil Arnett. Gentlemen, good to be back. We skipped last week. We did do a live. If you guys caught it on Instagram, we then posted it. If you missed it, you want to go check it out. But now we're back with a real episode this week. A little late, but a full episode nonetheless. How you guys doing?
Good, brother. What's happening?
Happy to be
Not much.
back, the three of us. Um, Busy time of the year right now with the holidays and everybody's got stuff going on. I think a lot of people think, like, why don't they just record every week the same time? It's tough, man. You have Mikey V's got a family and stuff. It's tough. Even with Brilliantly Dumb Show, Mikey, it's not easy sometimes getting the
Brilliantly,
episodes out.
brilliantly
Because
dumb. We've been good because we're on the weekend rotation. We've been
no,
doing
I
the weekends,
know,
but
but people are like,
during
you
the
missed
week
the
You guys
is
have
Bears
been
very.
good.
The
stuff.
week is hard. The week during the week is very hard. It's hard because, like you said, and you guys with your travel schedule, and then me with with work, and then the kids, and it's like the windows during the week are tough. The weekend is kind of it's open as long as we all could share a day. But we're here. The three of us are here. We're ready to jump in. A lot happening in the wide world of sports.
Let's
Awesome.
get right into it. Last week we had championship weekend. Let's start with the Big 12. Let's start with Iowa State. Let's start with Arizona State. Arizona State has been a wagon recently, beating Iowa State 45 to 19. Gentlemen, what'd you see in that game?
Mikey
Cam
likes him, that kid.
Scatabo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This kid, I mean, listen, he's got a lot of self-confidence. I mean, he makes the bold claim that he's the best running back in the country. Ashton Genty certainly would have something to say about that, I'm sure. We'll see in the playoff. I mean, listen, it's gonna be fun to see what those two teams in particular could do in the playoff. I mean, you got two teams that are never there, really, right? I mean, those teams are never traditionally in the postseason when it was a four-game playoff. But now, with the new playoffs and they're going to have the bye, both of them have a bye, which is incredible for those programs. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it shakes out with Arizona State and Boise State, man. Like, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see both of them. I personally, I mean, if gun to my head, I think the Sun Devils are one of the hottest teams in the country. I said that before the Big 12 championship game. I love this coach that they have. He's 34 years old. He's bringing a lot of energy. He turned that program around. I don't think they'll make a deep run in the playoff, but I think they could be an interesting game for that quarterfinal game. And having the bye, like I said, Scadabo's gonna have fresh legs, and on the flip side, Boise State, when they have their bye game, Genty's gonna have very fresh legs because now they have basically what is it, a 3-week layoff until they got to play New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, whatever it is. So it's
Believe
gonna be
so,
very
yeah.
interesting. It'll be very interesting.
Jody?
I mean, yeah, I think that this is the best part of the playoff is that you get to see teams that like Mike said, traditionally would never be there. And I think there's actually like for so long in college football, everybody had a problem with the committee and teams getting screwed. Like legitimately now, they're putting 12 teams in there. So no one can say, oh, these teams didn't deserve it. The respective teams that won their conferences get the buys, whether or not that's Mikey, the process moving forward, whether that's fair or not, I think
Yeah,
needs
we'll
to be
see.
assessed.
We'll
But I
see.
do think that it gives a lot of value in the sense that, anybody can win now, especially with the way that the format is. It's a one and done. You have one bad game, and you've seen all throughout this year, there's a lot of parity in college football where anybody can beat anybody, it seems like, on any given weekend. So it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to make for some really, really good football games and some interesting spreads. And it'll be interesting to see some of these lines coming out too.
The portal in college football changed the landscape of what college football is. People want to talk NIL, but the portal changed the landscape of college football because you have these players that are coming from teams that are developed by other coaches and they get their experience. And sometimes traditionally, the top schools, they bring in these 4-star, 5-star guys, and you have plenty of 3 stars behind them that just don't get to play. But now these kids are playing at the smaller schools, they're getting developed, and then they're going into the portal and they're becoming tremendous assets. Like Cam Scatabo was a portal guy. Diego Pavia was a portal guy. These kids are hitting the portal and they're paying major dividends for these schools. Now, in terms of the playoff, like Joe said, the parity this year was just incredible. I mean, people, the Bama people aren't happy. The Ole Miss people aren't happy, the SEC, but the bottom line is the standard for the 4-game playoff was if you lost 2 games, you weren't making the playoff. That was kind of the unwritten rule about the 14 playoff. Now it seems like the new precedent and the new rule is if you lose 3 games, you're not going to make the 12-team playoff. Maybe that's the precedent going to set. 3 losses that's a lot of losses for a program like Alabama. That's not what Alabama's accustomed to.
I think they got it right by having SMU go into that.
SMU put up a hell of a fight against Clemson. They could have won that game against Clemson.
I was concerned that they were not going to do the right thing and they were going to fold and Alabama was going to somehow weasel their way in.
Yeah.
But I think that you watch that game with Clemson SMU, the game went down to the freaking wire. And whoever wins that game's automatically given the playoff game. And given the fact, too, that SMU is higher ranked than Clemson going in, that should factor into that as well. Like if they were ranked as Clemson was and they lost, then that might be enough that they didn't make it. But they were ranked six going into the week, I think. So.
And they still had one less loss than Clemson as well.
And they do have one less.
The biggest thing working against SMU was that they lost to a team who had just lost to South Carolina the week before. That was one of the bigger things.
South Carolina ended up being a decent team, though.
Correct.
A really decent team, to be honest. And, again, Bama, the fans from Bama all want to talk about, well, we're not going to schedule any more tough out-of-conference games. Like, okay, but
Vanderbilt wasn't supposed to be.
You lost to Vanderbilt. Like you lost to Vanderbilt like that. That's a conference loss. And in retrospect, no disrespect to Vanderbilt, who overachieved by miles this year. That's a bad loss for Alabama. So you can make up any excuses that you want. I know how difficult Alabama's schedule was, Georgia's schedule was. But the bottom line is you have to win who you're scheduled against. There's plenty of teams that are in the playoff that play difficult schedules. The issue is that SEC fans and SEC teams will always go to the well and say that their schedules were the toughest, which it very well may be, and it very well is. But, Georgia, take a look at what Georgia's schedule looked like this year.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was insane. And
but that goes back, Mikey, why I would say the only thing I would change with the playoffs is the 4-seeded buys, because you could in the future have a team in the SEC that doesn't win the SEC and only have one loss.
Yeah.
I agree. Probably a top
I don't
4
disagree.
team.
I don't.
And then they're not going to get a buy.
And it excludes Notre Dame, too. So, if you get rid of that, then you let Notre Dame be a top 4 seed as well, which at some point you got to imagine they will be.
Yeah, because if Notre Dame ran the table this year and didn't lose that, they're one crazy loss to Northern Illinois at home away from being undefeated. So if Notre Dame was undefeated, how in the world can you say Notre Dame doesn't deserve a bye? That's just crazy. But
maybe what you could do is
I think the right teams are in.
I agree with you, Mikey. And I just think the way that they do it, I think if you win your conference, you're guaranteed a playoff game, but you shouldn't be guaranteed a bye. Correct. I think you should be in the top 12 no matter what. If you win the Mountain West,
if you win,
you should be guaranteed a playoff game
for sure.
But to put them automatically as a top 4 team now, that's getting a bye. And then you think about, Mikey, it's not like it's a 3-game series or it's a one and done. You play one game. Team like ASU, or even a team like Boise State, if Genty goes off one game, they could beat some of these top tier teams.
They're going to play Penn State, Boise State, that is going to play either Penn State or they're going to play SMU. That's a winnable football game for Boise State. It is those two teams. Yes, Penn State really did a lot better than we talked about it on the live last week. What did I say Penn State have to do? Forget about playing old Penn State smash off. Open the game up, and they did. They scored.
Well,
they were scoring.
They
were
He's
scoring.
Good.
He's a superstar recruit. Like I said, They kind of went away from their past. Now they got a chance to build on that Oregon game. They got a chance to build on that game. But what I want to say was Boise State being able to take on Penn State or SMU off a bye after those two teams play in Happy Valley in late December, which is that's going to be a tough game for both of them. That's going to take a lot out of them. Now,
is it
Boise
a whiteout?
It's one of them. I'm sure it'll be a whiteout.
That being said, Penn State, if you look at their road, they've got a pretty favorable road.
Oh,
they've got a shot, man.
Yeah,
compared to some
that
of these
side
teams.
of the bracket is really
Ohio State got fucked, man.
Ohio State in theory is going to have to go through
Tennessee,
Oregon, and then the Texas winner. So likely Texas. So imagine if Ohio State's got to go to win a
it
national
could be
title.
Georgia, right? Texas is
Georgia's on the other side. So the only way Ohio State's seeing Georgia in the national title game. Now, if I'll say this, if Ohio State by some miracle of Christ goes through Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Georgia and wins a national title, Ryan Day is absolved of every single sin that he's ever committed, because that is a gauntlet of all gauntlets. That'll be the greatest run I've ever seen. But I digress. We're back to reality now. Boise State has the favorable matchup. Even Arizona State, they're going to get the winner of the Clemson Texas game. They would be a very, very short underdog against Clemson and a large underdog, obviously, to Texas. But both of the Boise State, these two bye teams are going to be an underdog. No matter who they play, they're going to be the underdog. They'll be an underdog to SMU, Boise State, and they'll be an underdog to Penn State, certainly. And Arizona State's going to be an underdog to Clemson or Texas. No question about it.
Clemson, though, is a team that's interesting because they're well coached, and you know what? They've been there before. So like even though they're kind of a team that's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, there's moments when Klubnik plays well.
Yes.
He looks really, really
he's
good.
So hit or miss, man.
I know, but I'm just saying that I could see them beating a team like Texas. I could see it, especially at home.
Quinn Ewers is erratic too. Quinn Ewers, you don't know what you're getting from him either.
And Texas hasn't really beaten anybody.
They beat Georgia.
No, they didn't. They lost twice.
They lost.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Georgia.
They lost twice.
Texas. They didn't really beat anybody. You're right.
But even still, like Joe's right though. The Klubnik, that first half against SMU, compared to the second half, Clemson couldn't do anything. The second half, they were totally stifled. It was a tale of two halves. So yeah, I think it's an erratic matchup, both sides. I think Klubnik and Ewers are both guys that are just hit or miss. You don't know what you're going to get.
Klubnik looked really good in the first half. I think
he did.
Him, right?
He looked great.
That's what I said. Second half, he couldn't do anything.
Oh, I thought you said. I'm sorry.
Tale of two halves. He was great first half, and then SMU it was all SMU second half. It was a great game. SMU really, that was a great football game down to the wire. SMU, tying the game at the end or taking whatever it was they lost by the field goal, whatever it was. That was a fantastic
56-yard field goal.
Yes. That kicker. That kind of a kicker can make a difference too, because that's such a rarity in college.
Sure. And
then it's gonna be fun though. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to dive a little bit further into the SEC championship game specifically because I thought it was such a great game and very telling. But before we get there, I just want to say that I think the commentating crew for the Big 12 championship either watched the Sportsmen live that day, or Mikey he's just making great comps, because earlier in the day, you comped Toby, Scatterboo to Toby Gerhart, and then as did that,
Booger did,
it's good at what you do, Mikey. You're good at what you do. You're good at what you do. But let's get into this SEC championship.
We also got roasted a little bit for not knowing ball, Bob, if you look through the comments.
Oh, sure. But you know what? Hey, look at the stream, too. Look at the stream that we do, because we stream some of these games. The only one who knows ball in the crew is Jet, apparently. And Mikey, of course. No one
apparently he's the hottest gambler in America, according to himself.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he'll say.
That's new. That's new.
It's a new development.
It's an exciting development.
You know what, Mikey? It's a needed development.
Yeah.
What it is. It's a needed one.
It's a necessary.
Well, let's take it to the overtime in the SEC championship game and just talk me through. Texas just can't. They hung in there. They did their best, but they just can't beat anybody worth note. Are they just going to get thrown around in this playoff, or what are you guys thinking there?
The fact that Carson Beck left the game and they still won, to me, is wild.
Carson Beck couldn't do anything. The kid who came in, Gunner, right?
Gunner, yes. But I'm just saying, that's a tough
Gunner Stevenson or something like that.
Yeah, dude. Right? By the way, he got smoked on that last rush.
Did he ever?
I was really concerned that he wasn't going to get up. But this guy's got a lot of fight.
Did you see the hit that the Iowa State quarterback Rocco Beck took in that Big 12 championship? He got fucking spiked.
Annihilated.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I'm just saying that I think it was a great game, and you could tell as soon as Texas didn't score on that first drive that I think everybody figured that Georgia was going to win. And hey, you know what? They did what they had to do. Kudos to them. Like Mikey said, they've had a real tough season starting with that Alabama loss, and then they kind of worked their way back, and then who they lose to? Georgia Tech.
Who's that? Georgia?
Georgia. Yeah, they lost to Georgia. No, they won. They won the last
They
game.
won in 8
Yeah, no,
overtime.
they beat Georgia Tech. They lost to Bama. They that first half when Bama was up like 28-0 or whatever
That
it
was
was,
crazy.
35-7, and then Georgia stormed all the way back, and then Bama was still able to
But
get
who
it
was
done
their
at the
second
very
loss
end.
to, Mikey? Because when they lost that game, I was like, okay, I think that's it for
Ole
Georgia.
Miss. They lost to
Ole
Ole
Miss.
Miss.
That's right. They got crushed. That's right. But hey, you know what? They showed a lot of heart, man. And this Gunner kid that Ticket's talking about, I don't know what's going to happen. Do they have an update? Like, is Beck projected to play
I
this?
think Beck's going to play. I think he'll end up playing. He's got so much time. It's almost a month he's going to have, really.
Yeah.
That game to me, I fortunately for the Brotherhood, we put out the first half Texas, which was very small. It was a hook, Texas favored
Yeah.
by. And my whole thought process was the way Texas got jumped on in the first game when we were in Vegas, Joe, by Georgia. I thought Texas had to come out quickly and start quickly. And they did. But the issue, like Tick said, is they had all these drives into the red zone, and Sarkisian made a comment at halftime saying maybe they're going to call a holding play on Georgia in the second half. It would be nice. They got called on so many drive-killing penalties that forced field goals instead of touchdowns. If they could clean that up, if they could clean
Not
the
to miss the
penalties
missed
up,
field goals.
this game would have been a blowout. Texas would have won this game by 2 scores if they
Well, they
didn't get all
missed
these
two field
penalties.
goals that kid did too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he hit a few for sure. He hit a few field goals, but again, the penalties really, the red zone bog downs and the penalties just completely derailed Texas. If they had not had those issues, they would have won this game by 2 scores. So Texas, again, they just have things they got to clean up. Maybe Texas is maybe it's a thing like Ohio State. Like Ohio State, I'm thankful Michigan's not in the tournament. Texas may be thankful that they will not see Georgia again unless it's a national championship matchup. So maybe by then they won't have to see them, or maybe, they get that's their bugaboo for whatever reason is Georgia. But we will see. We will see, because that Clemson matchup that's a big number. Texas is given 11 points to Clemson. That's a big number. And that is going to be a more interesting game, I think, than maybe people believe it will be. Because I think Dabo, like Joe said earlier, the thing with Clemson is there's so many experienced guys on there. They didn't hit the portal. They kept with their guys. They stuck with their guys. They have championship pedigree and experience in those spots. So that'll be very interesting, that game.
Let's
It'll be
talk
fun
one
to
more
see.
thing. Let's talk one more thing here before we get on to big baseball news. I just want to ask both of you guys one thing. Is Oregon the best team in the country? They were done all that they were asked of, but are they actually the best?
I'll say yes. I'll say yes, because they're undefeated, and I will give them that. I will say yes. I'll say yes.
I think they could beat anyone in the playoff. Maybe,
but are they beatable? Are they beatable?
they're
Yes,
beatable.
they're
Yeah, they're
beatable. I think they're beatable. 100%.
I think a team like Georgia. I think Georgia could. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Give Penn State another run. I mean, that was a hell of a game. They could have won
Listen,
that
if
game.
Ohio State could get past Tennessee, I think Ohio State could give them a game.
Yeah.
I think
You guys
Ohio
think
State
Notre
could give them a hell
Dame
of a
has a
game.
chance to go far at all?
Yeah, defense in a run game travels, and Riley Leonard to transfer. Again, we go back to portal. What happens in the portal? Duke quarterback comes to Notre Dame. He's first half of the year a little bit rocky. Now he's come on
recently. Yeah.
Yes, the run game and the defense for Notre Dame should carry them a little bit. I mean, they get Indiana at home. That's a favorable.
I feel like that's
matchup
going to
for
be a
them.
great game.
Should be a good game. That's a smash mouth type of game. That's going to be a smash mouth football. The weather is of no benefit to either team because they're both cold weather teams. That doesn't mean shit. So that's going to be a very like old school football game. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Absolutely.
Who do you guys
all
have
right.
just out of before we move on? Who do you guys like going all the way?
Man, I'm going to say that, I would love to say Ohio State, but I think Oregon. I really do think that Oregon is this could be their year. Because they've knocked on the door several times in the past. I really think that this can be their year with the injury to Carson Beck and the fact that they wouldn't have to play Georgia, the fact that they have the bye. I just think that I think they have a favorable chance to get there. I do. I kind of like
Mikey.
Oregon's
They got to play
shot.
Ohio. we just talked about how Ohio State's got a shot against them. That's who they potentially be playing
Yeah, Ohio
after their
State's got to
first
get
round bye.
past Tennessee first, though. Tennessee's not
That's
a
not going to be
pushover.
easy.
Tennessee's got a great defensive line. They have a top running back. This kid's a great running back, number 6 for Tennessee. He's really good.
Their quarterback's solid too. He's shifty, very shifty. The Hawaiian kid,
I don't even whatever. Yeah,
I don't ever pronounce the names.
6'5". He's 6'5". He could run. For his size, he could run. It's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy for Ohio State to win that game. So I would say Oregon, though. Gun to my head, I would say Oregon. I think it may be their time.
I think Ohio State's one of the better teams in this thing. I like Ohio State, but it's not wrong that their road is extremely difficult. That Tennessee game is going to be extremely difficult. Then Oregon, I mean, like we just mentioned, Ohio State can beat them, but God, I do think they're the best in the country.
I like
then
the
if they
looks
can
of
get
Georgia.
past that, you like Georgia, huh?
I just think that now that they're going to have a bye, they're going to have time to rest, and I think
Just depends on what the quarterback situation.
I think they're the best coach in college. Best coach in college football goes far in these kind of games, and I think that he's going to have these guys ready to play. Man, I just really believe it. I think that they're a team that is not going to be an easy out.
That's a good pick. I was about to pick them. I just don't. I don't know what. I mean, Carson Beck did not look that good. The second they brought in Gunnar Stockton, by the way, is his last name.
Stockton.
The team looks so much better.
Stockton.
They all of a sudden they look so much better. So if Carson Beck comes back and he plays like the way he did just against Texas, there, I would be worried. But yeah, they've got a nice little route here. I mean, the first game's going to be either Notre Dame or Indiana. Neither are a given, but they've got an easier road than the other side of the bracket for sure. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's move on to baseball and more specifically New York. Man. I've never seen quite a frenzy go on between two teams, and it's nuts. Obviously, Juan Soto going from the Yankees to the Mets, signing the biggest contract not just in baseball but in sports history. Is that correct?
Sports history, any sport, $765 million with a chance to be 805. By the way, after the first 5 years, if he stays in, he's got the opt out after 5 years. If he stays in, they got to give him an extra $4 million, so it could go up to $805 million.
I don't think anybody's worth that much money, man. That's crazy.
16? No, it's for 15 years. The Yankees offer was 16 years, 760. But here's the thing too that the Mets gave this guy use of a private luxury box for the entire season for his family, a box. They gave him a box. You just have one. 4 seats directly behind home plate for every single regular season and postseason game. Security for his family to travel to and from any away game, spring training game, or home game. This is number 22, obviously was a guarantee in the contract that he would get the number 22 for his jersey. Literally the package that they gave this guy. Like, think about, I'm going to give you, just listen. I've looked into prices of luxury boxes at Yankee Stadium. Okay.
One game, $500,000. I think
for one game, I'm saying for one game, it costs about $20,000.
Yeah.
Roughly $15,000 to $20,000. Compound that over how many home games are there ticket for a baseball team?
80.
162 games, 81.
Okay, you do the math because I stink at
like 1.6 million.
81.
Okay, so you throw that on there. God knows what the traveling arrangements that they're accommodating his family and the security, which by the way is another cost, hourly security to pay. This deal is worth, if he opts in after the 5th year, is going to be close to $1 billion deal. It's the closest thing to $1 billion deal that we may see for a little while. It's staggering. It's staggering what they gave this guy. Now, am I going to say he's not worth it? I'm not going to say he's not worth it, because the question becomes like, is anyone worth that? Is any athlete worth that? That's a conversation to be had. But the Mets got their guy. This owner, people don't understand. Cohen is worth 20 times what the Steinbrenner family is worth. He's worth 20 some odd $billion. The Steinbrenner family is worth under $2 billion.
I'll tell you right now, that sphere is going to keep making him money.
If we keep going to see the Eagles, Joe, I want to go back, dog.
We might have to boycott the sphere just for Cohen.
And the dead is coming back too again.
Oh, are they?
Dead
Yeah.
John Mayer's heading back this year.
I don't know if Mayer's going, but yeah.
I'll tell you this right now. Ticket would have had a blast.
I know. It's not
us.
over, Tick. They added shows now through May. They're through April now. They added more.
I mean, unless we make a trip, I'm not making a solo trip to Vegas just for that.
You won't go solo. I'm ready to go again.
You're ready to go again? You're ready to
I'm
run
trying
it back?
to convince Holly to run it back. Yeah, I want to take her and go. Yeah, man.
You and
Joel
Holly
Joel Walsh was electric, Pop.
He's so good, man.
He's the whole.
He did Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain High was one of the encores.
Rocky Mountain Way, yeah.
Rocky Mountain Way, yeah.
Rocky Mountain High is John Denver. John Denver came out with Joe Walsh, and they did the.
That's true.
But bro, Rocky Mountain and in the city, Joseph, with the graphics
in the city.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Did he play Funk number 69?
No, they didn't play. No, they didn't play. No.
God, that's a
no. But I mean, you know, they did all the classics.
They led off with Hotel California. Was
they opened
first
with
song
Hotel
they
California.
played.
You know, if you lead off with Hotel California, that the concert's gonna fuck because that's a ballsy play. That's a ballsy play.
That's how many bangers they have, though. How long was Take It to the Limit, though? How many times did they do that?
I don't know, a million? Felt like a million. It was great.
We were also in the clouds.
Yeah, clouds.
Well, that's the way you got to do it. That's the way you got to do it.
But anyway, Juan Soto.
Right.
Juan Soto.
Right.
Listen, again, if I'm a Met fan, I'm loving it because your owner he lays his nuts on the table and just does not give a fuck. This guy, if he wants somebody, he's going to go and get him. He's just going to go and get him. So, congrats to the Mets fans. I mean, he's a hell of a player. He's not going to impress you in the field, but at the plate, he's as good as it gets.
He's also he plays mind games with pitchers too. He
does. At the plate, he's a menace at the plate. A menace. He's a total menace.
But do you think on the other argument now, Mikey, is like now that you don't have him, the Yankees, for example, they can go and just get a compilation of a ton of other players to make up what they would have paid him and still be really well.
They already got Max Fried, right? Which is a great signing for the Yankees. A huge signing for the Yankees. I love that because Max Fried's a dog in the big spot. And what it does also on the back end, in my opinion, it takes a little pressure off Carlos Rodon, which he's got paid a lot of money. Fuck him. He shouldn't have to have pressure taken off him. But if you make Rodon the 3 and now Fried's your 2 and Garrett's the 1, that's tremendous. Apparently, the Cubs, I hear, are the front runner to get Kyle Tucker in a trade from the Astros, but the Yankees are allegedly preparing a massive package to try and trade for Kyle Tucker. If the Yankees could land Kyle Tucker, I mean, and they got to trade away Luis Hill and they got to trade Ben Rice, which is part of the package, I think, that they'd have to get rid of. Man, oh man, it could be interesting. But like Joe said, now you could go out and you could afford maybe 3-4 guys as opposed to just one guy. And as good as Juan Soto is, if the Yankees had re-signed Soto, I think that would have been the end. Like, who else are you going to get at that point? Now you got Judge on the books, Soto on the books, Stanton on the books, Cole on the books. That's a ton of money. Like that probably would have been it. So we'll see now if they're able to go and get more guys now that Soto's in Queens.
Do you think that I mean, in your heart of hearts, how many more years he ain't going to be the guy for 15 years.
Yeah.
How many more years do you think that the Mets are really going to get out of this guy?
5 years, probably.
I would say they could get I mean, I think he could still be at the top of his
top level.
At the plate, Tick, probably 6-7 more years at the plate. At the plate. He's only 26 years old? I mean, Judge is 30. Judge is 31, 32. He's at least
gun to your head. You got an option to get Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, or Shohei Ohtani.
For 1 year?
For just 1 year. 1 year to go out and win a championship.
Is Ohtani able to pitch?
Let's say no. Because I think if he is, then he would be a given.
I would take Judge.
Yeah, I would take Judge. Because Judge is the plate and in the field. I mean, Judge
is pitching though. I think.
Ohtani no one will ever forget that drop, though, Mikey.
Nobody will
forget that drop.
You see, they're auctioning the ball off. I know. I was there. It ripped my fucking heart out of my. Yeah, I was there.
You were there.
That ball
Game 5, yeah. Game 5 World Series.
He dropped that ball seconds after he said, "I'll see you at Game 6."
Bob told me today that Mikey V was the reason the Yankees lost.
He's such a fucking. Bob loves a good. You know what Bob loves?
As good as anyone.
He loves a good scapegoat. He does.
Mikey, as good as anyone, though. That's a text you can't send, though. Yeah. That's a text you just. Yeah,
I don't think I said. I don't think I said I'll see you at Game 6. I might have said something like, I don't know, like we're going to Game 6.
You texted. You texted.
No, your game of the week.
What your game of the week? You
Game of
said
the
my
week
Oh,
was
Yankees
Yankees.
money line. Yeah, yeah. See,
Yankees.
so that's a little. I was having fun. I was having a little fun. That's all that was. I didn't say, yeah, we won. We're going to game 6. I mean, but yeah, it was the implication. Sure, sure.
Was the
Hand up, hand up.
Sure,
If people
sure.
want to blame me for the Yankee loss, people blame me for the Yankee loss. Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge miss routine plays. That's not. I mean, it is what it is.
I don't think you could blame Cole because he was so good, but that Judge, it was the Judge and then the Volpe error. There was a back-to-back and then the Cole error. It was
Cole
like
not covering first. I mean, they
it
broke
was
his
like
balls
a
on local radio, man. They destroyed it. I mean, people were coming for Garrett Cole's neck on the fan, man, for not covering first base. And my thing was this: the guy pitched his fucking nuts off. He's a fucking Yankee, a true Yankee through and through since he was a kid. I know he didn't play there at the beginning of his career, but I don't know. It's tough for me to to just try and make him the scapegoat there. It was a collective loss of just non-fundamental baseball, which the Yankees had perfected throughout the season. They were not good fundamentally at all. They rarely are. So that's it. But Juan Soto, New York Met, historical deal. I think he'll be good in Queens for a long time if he's staying the course and he's doing the right thing. My thing is, like, you hand a man $1 billion almost. Man, oh man, it's got to be hard to find the incentive to get up in the morning and just work as hard as you've ever worked in your life to try and win a chance. It's got to be a little bit harder to do that, but hopefully he's got the right support cast around him and he wants to win. And I think he wants to win. I think he loves Francisco Lindor. I think having Lindor there was a big reason why he went there. And I think they'll do very well. And
do you think they have a chance? So do either of you guys think they have a chance to beat the Dodgers?
I think everyone's playing for second place against the Dodgers unless the Yankees can
Which
make
is
a couple
why
more
I
super
also
moves.
don't know why he didn't stay with the Yankees, because the road to the World Series on the American side
At the end of
seems
the
to
day,
be a lot
it's
more
money.
reasonable.
It's
Yeah.
the money. It's the money. And you know what?
I
Not
feel
for
like he's a
nothing.
guy who wants
the
to
Mets
win
won more,
too, though.
The Mets won more games against the Dodgers in the postseason than the Yankees did when push
That's
comes to
true.
shove. They won 2. The Yankees only won 1. Now, the Yankees should have certainly won at least 2, probably 3. But
Game one, they should have won.
that's game 5, game 3, and
Yeah.
game 1 and game 5, and then we're talking about the Yankees. Going back to LA up 3-2, but that's not the way it happened.
Errors beget errors, Mikey. Errors are contagious.
Yeah,
They
it's so
once
sick. You're
once
not
they
wrong.
start to snowball,
You're not
that's
wrong.
the way
You're
it
not
works.
wrong. It's like the whole thing falls apart. It's sick.
Especially, and then you throw that on a team that's already, like you said, playing non-fundamental baseball, and it just becomes a nightmare.
Yep.
All right, let's move on here. Let's talk one more thing before we get into NFL. Let's talk Belichick going to North Carolina. All right. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. Obviously, within the last week, they probably did. But I think most people, if you asked him a month ago, thought he was going somewhere in the NFL or just staying retired. Gentlemen, what do you guys think about him going to UNC?
He's got ties, I think, through his family to UNC is what I was hearing, which is why
his father was an
grandfather or his father. Yeah.
His father was an assistant coach at UNC from 1953 to 55.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, Belichick was only 2 years old at the time, but he did make like a deliberate message to say, like, this feels like a full circle moment for me, blah, blah, blah. So,
I mean, you go there, the expectations can't be that high for him. I mean, I don't know. Like, I heard
they doubled Mac Brown's salary. They gave him double what they were paying Mac Brown $5 million a year. They're paying Belichick base salary $1 million, but they're giving him $9 million in supplemental money. So that's $10 million a year they're giving him. And the bonus structure is crazy too.
Now
this guy gets a bonus for everything. If he gets ranked in the top 25, the top 15, I mean, it's great. If he wins the national championship, it's a $1.75 million bonus. That's not going to happen. But $300,000 if he wins the ACC, $750,000 if he just makes the college football playoff, just makes it. It's $750,000. So he's got a chance up to $3.5 million extra a year in incentives, depending on how far and how well he does.
You think a little bit of this was just kind of a fuck you to the NFL and to Goodell? I mean, do you think a little bit?
Why though, Tick? But what does he got? Well, the guy won.
I don't think he has
Super
anything
Bowls.
else to prove, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, why is he going to say fuck you to Goodell? Like, what's his beef? The guy made his bones in the NFL. He won 8 Super Bowls as a coach.
Was it 8 or 7?
8, because he won 2 with
8.
the Giants and 6 with the Patriots.
Oh, I forgot about the Giants.
Yeah,
that's insane, man.
Insane, bro. Insane.
I mean, I was talking to Nicole earlier. I think he's just so in line with coaching that it's like, because Nicole was saying, I wonder if he considered like going into like commentating or broadcasting or some kind of involvement.
He's great at it.
He's very
great.
good.
I think he's great at it.
But
I
I
was
think
hoping
the
that's
thing
where he was
is,
going to stay.
I think he's so used to being a coach, Mikey, that it just anything other than that just doesn't seem the same to him. I would imagine, right? Which is where he finds himself now. I also think going to the college game, it's just a different. It's a totally different. It's a different world. It's a different job. It's different everything, you know. So I'm interested to see how he'll do because some coaches really good in college. Like look at Nick Saban and didn't translate to the NFL, but like you get the best coach in the NFL. I wonder how he's going to do in college. It's
You
going
know
to be
what?
interesting.
A theory that I have is that he's a guy who loves control, right? He
Yeah.
loved being the GM
He's
and the
the
head
GM.
coach
Yep.
of the Patriots. No one in their right mind, the way that it ended in New England, was ever going to let him touch a GM position again. This and going to college gives him to be able to recruit talent, kind of gives you as close as you can get to that GM feel and taking back some of that control, being able to recruit your own class, get your own team in there. I kind of think he just wants to have a little bit more control than just coaching a football team that somebody else puts on the field. That's a theory that I had. It could be based on absolutely nothing. I just kind of think this guy's mentality, he wants more control than just kind of calling the plays on the field.
You know what I
It's not a
think he's
bad
gonna
take.
you know what I think he's gonna do, Tick, even more so than the recruiting. I think that he is going to utilize that transfer portal like you have never seen. Like I don't know if he's ready to be like a grassroots recruiter, this guy, because
Right.
that's a different animal, man. When you got to visit homes and I think that the portal is going
I
to be
can't
where North
imagine he's
Carolina
gonna.
cleans up a
Yeah.
little bit. I really do. I think he's going to land a lot of portal kids. He's going to be like, look, you honed
Yeah.
your skills at this school. Come play for me. I know what it takes to get you to the next level, the NFL. That he doesn't even need to say that. I mean, all these kids know who he is. I think that it's going to be advantageous for him. Again, the portal, I think it's just changed so much that the recruitment is important, of course. It's important, but it's like these other schools are developing these kids, and then the big boys are just poaching them off. And now
I know.
they bumped up his NIL package incentive. So instead
Yeah.
of 4 million to 20 million, North Carolina is going to equip him to be able to get kids, and I think he will. I think he will through the portal. Recruiting, I don't know yet. I gotta say, I gotta say,
Yeah,
but
you're right. I don't see him going into many living rooms, promising families,
yeah,
He's
looking
got
them
to
into
be a
the
top tier
eye.
player.
he's definitely gonna send his assistants there. And they're saying too, like this is kind of like he's opening the door to leave it open for his son, because the deal is only
Yeah.
is only a guaranteed 3-year contract. It's a 5-year deal, but there's only
30 million, right?
there's only 3 years guaranteed on it. So I mean, they're saying a lot that he's going to hold it for his son, who's out as the defensive coordinator right now at the University of Washington. And that's kind of like he's holding it for him, which would make sense. I mean, he's 76 years old. I mean, what are we talking
That's
about?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about? Or 72
Yeah.
or 76, one of the two, 72 or 76.
He's in his 70s. We'll agree to
yeah.
that.
So either
Last week on
or.
the Sportsman Live, I said the same thing that I had been, hearing that this was kind of through a Barstool show that I watched, that he's kind of opening the door for his son, and
And
that
that's
seems
good.
to
I
be
mean,
a
that's good. I don't remember you saying that, but that's what
it's
I agree.
nepotism. It's
Yeah.
nepotism, Mikey, is what it is.
Yeah, but I
But you
mean,
know what? This country's built on it, so why not take advantage of it if you have that position? Why not help
and
him
you know
out?
what though?
Although,
You would have to believe that his son is knowledgeable more so than the average Joe because of who his father is. He probably grew up eating, sleeping, breathing, and shitting football. I mean, because Belichick is. I mean, you just listen to Belichick talk for 5 minutes. Like this is his. This is all this guy knows. Like this is it.
Yeah.
Like this is all he knows. So I would imagine his son is very. His son's a psycho, by the way. I mean, you remember
is
those
he?
shots on the sideline of him sticking his tongue out?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's nuts.
he's the psycho. The guy's a nut. I mean,
He's still in the
Yeah.
NFL. He's still.
he's
He was
the
with the
D
University of
coordinator at
Washington.
Washington.
Oh, that's right. He
Yeah.
fucking moved over to the. When did he move over? Because he was with the Patriots
Two,
up until 2 years.
I think
A year.
when Bill
When-
left, I think
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on into NFL week 15. We're going to just skip right to the previews of this coming week, which is now just in a few days because we're so far removed from last week. And as we move through these, we'll make our picks and also touch on how they did last week. But let's start with the first game, 1:00 slate on Sunday. Chiefs are heading to Cleveland. Kansas City's favored by 4.5 points, over under 43.5. Who do you guys like there?
Give me Cleveland to cover here.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Chiefs just don't fucking cover
They don't
spreads,
cover,
bro.
man. They don't ever fucking
They
cover.
just don't cover spreads. Did they cover last week against the Chargers?
No,
No,
they
right?
barely
Yeah.
won on a field goal.
Right. And it was a
That
4-point
that
spread as
that
well, right?
and
That
by
was a
the way, that
4-point
field
spread as
goal
well.
doinked through. It hit the
Yeah, they're
upright.
miraculous. Yeah, it's just they
It's
get
unbelievable.
everything
It's like
goes their
every
way.
bounce goes their way. It's insane.
I'm gonna say this is the week that the Chiefs actually do cover a 4-point spread.
Oh,
I'm going to say that Jameis does some crazy Jameis shit and that the Chiefs actually do cover the spread this week because eventually you would think that they have to cover a spread, right?
Jameis is playing pretty well, by the way, right now. He's playing some
Hey,
football.
he is, but he also he threw two
throws so
pick
many
sixes.
picks.
It's
He
just
threw
nuts.
400 yards
Weak
I
last
know
ones,
week.
too.
500. I wasn't it
Was it
500.
five? It was
497 or something
four
like that. It was
something. And
crazy.
what, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns?
That ball
No one
flies
throws.
in Colorado.
No one
Jerry
throws
Jeudy
more
all of a
ridiculous.
sudden
Yeah.
has been reborn. I don't know where
Mhm.
he was for the first 8, 9 games of the
Or
season.
Pittsburgh, they played. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying all of a sudden now Jerry Judy's been reborn. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No,
But they
no
got
one throws more ridiculous, just absurd picks than
moon
Jameis
balls.
Winston.
Yeah.
It's just
It's all or
crazy.
nothing, baby.
It is.
Have you
It
guys
is. He's
have you guys
volatile.
seen that viral compilation of Jameis Winston on Instagram where it's like him saying some of his most ridiculous quotes to "Good Riddance" by Green Day?
No.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
You have to send it, Pop. You have to
I'm gonna
send
have
it.
to send you that too. It's unbelievable. There's no one who's ever been more entertaining in sports than Jameis
You
Winston.
love him, don't you, Pop?
Oh, me and Bob have a real bond over Jameis Winston.
I think he's like the Mike Tyson of the NFL. He really is. Now
I'd love to get him on
he
Bob
never
This
was
Sports. Could you imagine that, Tick?
he was never of that
Oh.
level. But I mean, he's just such a psycho. I mean, just he's crazy. Just
The crab legs in college says it all, man.
That was great. I know the best in college is when he got suspended for the game and he showed up in uniform and pretended like he didn't know he was suspended. That was to Jimbo Fisher, and Jimbo Fisher's like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here!" That was unbelievable when he did that. That was unbelievable.
He's also become so popular for having just the cringiest yet funniest, like hyping the guys up before the game speeches. Did you see in this last game against the Steelers that they showed the whole thing on national TV?
Yeah.
They almost never do that, but they know this guy's content.
He's
a content guy at heart.
He's a machine, man.
He absolutely is. So,
Who
Mike,
you
you're
have,
going
Pop?
Kansas City to cover.
Yeah,
Joe, you're going
KC.
Browns. Everyone wants to figure out the week where the Chiefs cover. I'm going to stick with Joe and say the Browns find a way. I'll take the Browns plus the 4.5 here. Let's move on here to the next game, 1:00 slate. Bengals are heading to Nashville, playing Tennessee Titans. Cincinnati is favored by 5.5 points, over under 46.5. What do you guys like?
Cincy, I think Cincy is, defense figured it out a little bit against Dallas, albeit against, Cooper Rush. But even still, I just the way Burrow is playing right now and Jamar Chase.
He's number one, and Jamar Chase is number one in their respective positions in the NFL right now. I think Burrow has the most passing yards, most touchdowns. Jamar Chase has the most receiving yards and most touchdowns.
Jamar Chase right now to me looks like if he wants to go out there and catch 20 balls, if they wanted him to catch 20 balls in a game, he could do it. Like he could do it easily. Like that's what it looks like when it looks so unfair when he's route running. Like it's just crazy what they're waiting for to pay this guy. I couldn't tell you. They should pay him yesterday. I don't know what they're waiting for. So I'll take Cincy. Laying the 5. I have it at 5 now, Tick live line, but I'll take Cincy 5.5. Don't matter. I'll take Cincy.
Their defense worries me, but again,
yeah, it does. But
Tennessee is not exactly an offensive juggernaut with Will Levis. Yeah, I would take Cincinnati as well here.
I saw Mike. Yeah, I don't know who it was. I can't remember who the commentator was, but someone was laying in on this conversation about should they pay Sam Darnold? Even though they got JJ McCarthy going.
Yep.
And then this guy was so infuriated that this guy could play half a season or a little over and be talking about getting a brand new big contract just because he's a QB. And a guy like Jamar Chase, who's now 4 years in the league, only done unbelievable things, just can't get paid. Hassan Reddick, guys like them can't get paid. And I get it, the QB position's worth more, but it
Yes.
is something to think about, especially when a guy of the caliber of Jamar Chase, it is interesting. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, the Bengals, they're just rolling. As Mikey said, Joe Burrow just looks unbelievable. Have zero faith in the Titans. I think they'll cover the 5.5. All right, let's move on here to the Commanders, who are heading to New Orleans. Commanders are favored by 7.5 points, over under 44.5. What do you guys like?
I like the Commanders here. Derek Carr is now gone. The Saints have been really just not good. Yeah, I would go ahead and take Washington here. I think they come out and have a big game.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, Washington, I guess, is the play. I want to take the Saints because I do think it's a lot of points. I think it's over a touchdown that's a lot, especially as a road favorite. I don't like the game. I wouldn't bet the game. In fact, if I had to bet the game, I'd probably take the Saints plus the 7.5 if I had
Who are
to.
they going to have at quarterback? Are they going to throw Taysom Hill or Rattler?
No. Taysom Hill's out for the season, I think.
Oh, yeah, he's out, so it's got to be Rattler. No?
If it's Rattler, I mean, you could book the
I feel like if it's Rattler,
so.
you got to take. By the way, friend of the program, so we're not going to bash him, but I will say that he's got a lot left to learn at the pro level, and I would take the Commanders with 7 or 7.5 in this if he's playing, which I think he is.
Yeah, I would probably buy the hook, just God forbid, but yeah, I'll take Washington. I hate the game, but I'll take Washington.
The NFL is so tough this week. Look at the Bills game last week. You thought that they would be
how to tease it. The only reason I won is because I put it in a 10-point teaser. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
NFL's just tough this year, man.
It is. It's real tough this year,
It's really hard to pick winners, let alone just pick the winners, to pick spreads.
Even the prop picks have been tough this year. NFL's been tough this year. Been tough.
But you said even on that live, Mikey, that was a fishy line. That Bills Rams
the
game
line
was fishy.
100%.
The Rams came out and blitzkrieged the defense that looked like they were one of the better defenses in the whole. Now, bounce back. I mean, against the mighty Lions, what a matchup! But Tickle, Tickle get there.
We'll get there. I'll take the Commanders as well. I mean, you're talking about a Saints team that couldn't put up more than 14 against the New York Giants. If you can't do that, you're not going to do it against the Commanders. I see the Commanders putting up at least 24 points. So, yeah, give me the Commanders to cover that 7.5. Moving on here. Let's move on to the Ravens, heading to New York, heading to MetLife, playing the Giants. They are favored by 16 points, over under 42.5. What do you guys like?
The Ravens coming off of a bye. Fresh leg, pissed off Lamar Jackson, who said going into the bye that his mom told him that he's got to start doing what made him, meaning he's going to start cutting it loose a little bit more. The Giants are going to start Tommy DeVito because Drew Lock is out. He's hurt. The Ravens are going to the Ravens may mercy. If there's a mercy rule in the NFL, the Ravens may invoke it. The Ravens are going to.
How many yards Derrick Henry's going to have this week?
I don't know because they may take him out at halftime. I don't know. But give me the Ravens 16.5. I'll lay it. I know that's insane to say because that's one of the bigger spreads probably the entire season. Maybe the biggest. I don't know. Could be the
16's a lot.
Well, what was the line? The Lions Jaguars a couple weeks ago. That was massive. That line. It was the
14.5.
Okay. Yeah. Give me. And the Lions covered with ease. They scored like 50. I'll take the Ravens. Similar situation. I think they'll crush the Giants.
I'm with Mikey here. If you're betting on the Giants right now, just save your money. There's no.
Yeah, there's no.
Did you see how they lost last week?
Yes,
they almost had a miraculous comeback just to miss a field. I mean, this team is in disarray.
Very Bears-esque.
It is.
Yeah.
And by the way, poor little Dom went from one situation to a worse one.
Yeah, I know. He really needs to reevaluate that situation.
We need to go back and evaluate that because if you're going to jump ship from the Bears, at least go to a team
I said to my wife,
go to the Lions.
I said, Holly, they didn't have like a Chiefs bear available or, they didn't have.
Chiefs.
She wasn't there, but I was like, they didn't have a 49ers or a Ravens bear or a Bills bear. He had to go with the Giants, but it is what it is. But yeah, Ravens.
The interesting thing in that whole story is that he's still holding a bear. So I think if you think
He
about it, Mikey,
associates the Bears.
he's still holding on to that one cling of hope there, Mikey. He's still holding the Bears, just got the wrong logo on it.
We need to get Ben Johnson. Gotta get Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Listen, Tommy DeVito time in New York is my favorite time of year. It's my favorite time of year. It's better than Christmas. There's nothing
Pop
better
loves
than
watching
Tommy
that
DeVito.
fucking agent
This
bounce
guy.
around the field.
Oh,
in
it's
his
the best. I love the
Gelato.
agent. I love the. Oh, yeah. I mean, they just the cutlets, the everything. I mean, they just love this guy. You love it in North Jersey. It's the best time of year for you guys.
I hate it, bro. I hate it.
Poor Malik Neighbors, by the way. This guy really drew a bad straw.
He's
man.
clearly upset too. I mean, he's made that clear.
You know what, though? You're a rookie, man. Like, you're a rookie. You know, like, if you had an agent who had half a brain, he's telling you, like, listen, you got to keep your mouth shut because they want to get rid of this quarterback. Like, they have to get a quarterback. They don't have their quarterback yet. You can't, like,
you think they go Shedeur Sanders next year?
They're going to get somebody really good. They're going to get, Shedeur, well, the problem is
I can't imagine
maybe
Deion's
Cam Ward,
gonna let.
maybe Cam Ward. I mean,
is he going out of the transfer?
Shedeur, the Raiders have the one pick, and that's where Deion wants him to go. So that's going to be the match made in heaven if it stays that way. But if the Giants somehow get the first pick and they pick Shedeur, I don't think that Deion would have a problem with him going to the Giants. I mean, the Giants are
really
they're a flagship franchise. Tick. It's a New York media.
The Maras are such a nightmare. They can't. Did you see the plane that went by? Someone bought a plane with the letters.
It's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire. Fix it, Mr. Mara. It was,
when Wellington, God rest his soul, passed away and passed the torch to John, it was a real problem. Like, John is not Wellington. Wellington's rolling over his grave. Absolutely. You know you're wealthy if your first name is Wellington. You're well destined. Off. You're destined to own an NFL franchise.
There hasn't been a poor Wellington in human history.
No,
there may never be.
There's a reason you never roll up to like the McDonald's and see the employee name tag Wellington on it. You know what I mean? They're just not humping those kind of jobs, man. These guys are built to own football teams. I could say whatever I want. My career started at Burger King when I was 14. So I could say it. But I'm saying Wellington, wealthy name.
He's rolling up to the drive-thru in a Rolls Royce.
Yes. A Maybach. Someone's driving.
A little late night cravings.
Yeah, everyone gets them.
You sure do.
Yeah. Give me the Ravens, obviously, to cover that game. Moving on here. Let's go to Dolphins, who are heading to Houston, playing the Texans. Houston is favored by 3 points there, over under 46.5. Who do you guys like?
Miami Dolphins. Money
really?
Line. Money line.
Whoa, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah. I like the Dolphins money line. Close to a game of the week, it may be. I got to look at a couple more games.
Miami barely won last week.
I know they did
not look good.
I know. But I think Tua has looked good. And I think that Tua has looked great in the 7 or 8 games now since he's come back. I say it every week. I said, this team are 2 really bad losses away from being firmly in the playoff picture when Tua came back. The Cardinal game and the Bills game. The Green Bay game, we know they're not going to win on the road in the cold. It's just not going to happen. But this game indoors at Houston is a game the Miami Dolphins could win. Absolutely. Yeah. That Houston defense will give up yards through the air. They will give up yards through the air.
They also get a lot of takeaways, though, Mikey. They get a lot of takeaways at defense.
Petry's out now. Jalen Petry's out. I think that's a big loss for them. He's been out, but now he's officially, I think he's out for the season. I don't know. I don't know, man. Something about the Dolphins I can't get off. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the team speed. Maybe it's the uniforms. Maybe it's Tua. But I'm a Dolphins.
You've been a Tua guy for a long time. You believed in this guy.
When he's in a rhythm tick, I just think he's really tough. He's tough. But we'll see. I like Miami.
Did you buy yourself some Hawk Tua coin while you were at it?
No.
I didn't
even know about that. Didn't even know about it.
She's going to jail, by the way, dude. She's going to go to jail.
Probably.
Another one that I was out on.
Yeah.
Another one. Bites the dust.
Joey knew.
Hashtag Joey knew. Yeah, I sure did.
I'll take Houston in this game. I think they're coming off a bye. Miami they just look so hot and cold. They should have lost last week. They got lucky to even win that game. I think Stroud plays well enough here. I give me Houston. This would probably be a game I'd stay away from because Miami has screwed me this year more than any other team. Because when they're good, they're great, and when they're bad, they're horrible. There's no in between. They're not just mediocre. They're just. I would stay
Yeah,
away from this game.
I'll take the Dolphins plus the points. I'm not going to go money line, but Houston's a team that just baffles me. They just, I mean, they're losing to
Offensive
teams like
line
the Jets.
stinks.
Yeah, they're losing
Offensive
to the
line
Jets.
stinks.
The Titans, I think they lost to too. I mean, they just lose some bizarre games.
But they've beaten the
Um,
Bills.
they
Yeah.
have beaten the Bills. They have done that.
The Bills
I just
will
don't
lose
totally
a
believe in
random.
them
The
yet.
Bills are kings of losing random games, though. They just are. Like, look at the Rams game. That was ridiculous. Shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Josh
fair
Allen
enough.
certainly didn't make that. Did
No.
try not to make that happen, dude. That was maybe the best game I've ever seen him play.
I mean, he scored 6 fucking touchdowns.
6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing.
He had a
did
Steve
everything.
Young-esque game, Super Bowl against the
Crazy.
Chargers. Only that was all throwing, but even still, just a crazy game.
He's got to watch his back for Saquon for that MVP race, man. He's got to watch his back.
I don't know, Tick. After Sunday, that's tough. That's tough.
He's got to watch his back. I'm just saying, plenty of football left. All right, let's move on here. The Colts are heading to Denver, playing the Broncos. Broncos are favored by 4 points, over under 43.5. I think we already know who Joe's taking. But what do you guys like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Denver. Dome team coming out of the dome, going into Colorado, Mile High. Bo Nix playing pretty decent football. Is Denver coming off a bye?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had a
I was
bye
going to
last
say,
week.
okay. Denver coming off the bye, 2 weeks to prepare. I don't know. Anthony Richardson against that defense is going to have a long.
What's the line tick?
long
4.5?
4.5. Yeah, 4.5.
I have 4, but it might be 4.5.
It's 4. Yeah, live
Four?
line on
Four and a-
DraftKings
line?
right now is
Perfect.
4.5.
Game of the week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here we
I was
go.
going to do it too. to be
Denver
honest.
Broncos
Yeah.
game of the week.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton connection. I actually think Denver's I've talked about them all year. I think they're a solid team. And I don't think Indianapolis is a solid team. I think they're like mediocre. I don't think they're going to be playing to that level. I think give me Denver. This is my game of the week. By the way, shame on us. We had a horrible
Oh,
across the board week.
Shame on the Bears, scumbags.
All of us had a terrible
And
terrible
the
week.
worst
I will
thing,
never
too,
bet
is-
the Cardinals again, ever again. That's
Oh,
it. They're
yeah,
dead to me.
Cardinals.
But I do think
worst-
this is a spot where Denver covers. Give me Denver +4 or Denver -4. Sorry.
I think it's 4.5. You gonna take the 4.5? The live odds.
Oh, I
4.5.
thought you said it went to 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, it's 4.5.
I thought it
Four and a,
was
it's
4.5.
live right now. Yeah.
That's fine. Give me 4.5.
Okay.
Too.
The worst thing about our game of the weeks last week is first Joe took mine. I was going to use that one. Then Mikey took mine, and I was going to take that one. And then I came up with the other one, and I would have lost all 3.
Oh for 3, Pop. That's horrible, dude. That's yeah, but
What's your season record now, Pop? I think I'm 6-8.
He's
5 and 9, I think.
bro. I was so confident in the Bears last week. I was silly confident. I thought they were going to win the game outright. I was like, San
You
Francisco.
really? It's the first time I've ever seen you
I
like
know,
that.
I know. I was like San Francisco because I thought they were going to, when these teams fire their coach midseason and that first game, they
Mhm.
always get the new
Interim
head coach
coach.
pump. And plus the fact San Francisco, brutal schedule, coming off the road, cross country, Bears on a mini bye, coming out of Buffalo in the snow, 3rd string left tackle, 3rd string left guard, 4th string running back. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't
They look
fucking
like they're
matter.
Super Bowl contenders.
Oh my God. Anybody, Bears will make anybody look like that, Joe. Fucking Christ.
That's a classic Jet theory, by the way. He believes in the interim coach game. Anytime you fire a coach midseason, you get
It's
the interim
such
coach.
a
Always
foolproof
bet the
bet. It's usually a foolproof bet unless it's the only team that could fuck that trend up is the Bears, and they sure did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Got to give Joe credit. He's been talking about Bo Nix and these Broncos most of the year, man. They do
Loves
look like
Bo.
a pretty solid team.
The guys
loves Bo.
can
He looks
throw
good.
the football, man.
Yeah.
He looks
No,
good.
I think Sean Payton's doing a great job with him.
Sean Payton should get some more. I mean, he's a scumbag now, but I think he's done a great job with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you,
Yes.
it's not my game of the week, but I'll take Broncos minus
Yeah,
two and
I'm
a half.
taking Denver. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. The Bills are heading to Detroit. Detroit
game.
is favored by 2.5 points. Might be the best
This
game
is
of the week here. Over under
Well,
54
no,
and a
there's
half.
another really good one with your boys.
Eagles
No, they're
Steelers.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
oh
great one.
my.
That's
another
going to be a good one. Well, we'll get there next. But right now, Detroit favored for 2.5 at home against the Bills. Over under 54 and a half. Who do you guys like?
I'm taking the Bills.
Okay. And I like the Bills, Joe. I do like the Bills. I do. But here's the reason I'm going to take the Detroit Lions, because you're never going to see the Detroit Lions at home this season under a field goal favorite against anybody. There's no team that they'll be under a field goal favorite against. Nobody. This is the only chance you're going to get the Detroit Lions at home. And basically, I'm not going to call it a pick 'em, but it's, the odds of them only winning by 2 or 1 are very slim. This is an opportunity. So based solely on that, that's the reason I'm going to take the Lions, because they're at home and you're getting this low of a line on them. That's
You're not
reason
concerned
I'm
about
go
the
Lions.
defense at all and how Josh is playing.
No, because I think it'll be a shootout. I think the Lions are going to move the ball against them.
What's the over under in this game, Tick?
54 and a half.
Oh my God.
It's hefty. It's hefty.
Because neither team played defense the last few weeks.
Yeah, highest on the board. I mean, by far. So, yeah.
To me, right now, this is my Super Bowl preview. These are the two teams I would pick to be in the Super Bowl.
It's a good
and
call.
Because of that and that only, I'm a big believer in lose to them in the regular season, get them back in the playoffs. I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think the Lions, if you had asked me today, I think the Lions win the Super Bowl. So for that reason and that reason only, a guy who had 3 wrong game of the weeks last week is taking the Bills.
This is your game of the week?
No.
Oh,
it's not.
Okay. That's where I thought he was going with that.
Just all of those opinions that just come solely from my brain and based on no facts. Just take my brain for with a grain of salt. But yeah, so give me the Bills plus the 2.5 there. All right, moving on. The game Mike was talking about. Steelers are heading to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's favored by 5.5 points. Over under 43.5. What do you guys like?
Man, all the talk about the locker room division, and then AJ Brown kind of cleared it up yesterday. He said there's nothing wrong between me and Hurts, and that Brandon Graham blew it out of proportion, and it's not.
You have to come out and talk about it. It's still a problem.
I'm going to take the Steelers plus 5.5. And I'm not going to take them because I don't think the Eagles are a good team. I think the Eagles are a very good team. But the Steelers are good at one thing, and one thing they're very good at is stopping the run or slowing the run down. And I want to see, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I want to see what the Eagles do when Saquon becomes a non-factor. And if the Steelers can do that, maybe they can. Maybe Saquon is going to have another game where it doesn't matter what defense goes out there, he's still going to rip through him. If the Steelers could slow down Saquon Barkley, that's the reason why I just think it's too many points. I think this game should be a 3.5 or a 4-point spread. I think 5.5 is a little bit much. I'm going to take the Steelers, my game of the week, the Pittsburgh Steelers, plus 5.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Tick's Eagles. Nothing personal, Tick. I still think the Eagles can win the game, but I think it's a bit much.
Yeah, I was gonna initially go with the Eagles.
Well, don't let me change your mind. Go with your gut. Do not.
I don't want to root against your pick. I want to see us hit.
You root against everything. Take the pick, Joseph.
I'll take the Eagles. The Eagles.
That's fine.
Minus 5.5. For the reason just being that I don't know if I can trust Russell Wilson still. Like, I know he's had some great games.
Yeah, I think
he's been very good. But this Eagles defense is starting to play better. And I think the only thing that could get in the way right now of the Eagles is Sirianni, because the Eagles are a really good team.
Well, he's been the whole, yeah.
Tick, let me ask you this. If you could right now today, this Eagles team, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Jalen Hurts for this one season with this current roster?
Oh,
I still have Nick Sirianni as
you
my
got
head
Sirianni.
coach.
There's nothing you could do about that.
No getting around that.
No getting around that, but that's a good try, Tick. That's a really good try.
I'll take Russell Wilson. I'll take Russell
Whoa!
Wilson.
I gotta be honest. I think I would too. I gotta be
Yeah.
honest. I think I would too, man. Something about Jalen Hurts when he has to throw and he's got to stay in the pocket scares the shit out of me.
But
It
there's
just
times where
does.
he throws the ball
Yes,
beautifully.
yes, and there's times Justin Fields throws the ball beautifully.
Yeah,
And Russell Wilson has historically played his best seasons when he's had a good running back. I mean, in Denver, he didn't have much of one. I mean, and Najee this year is having,
And
one
Jalen
of the
Warren's a
better
talented guy
seasons,
too.
and Jalen
Yeah,
Warren
he's solid.
too. I mean, and all of a sudden Russell looks reborn, and George
Yeah.
Pickens was nowhere to be found until Russell Wilson took over. So,
Yes.
you put him with AJ Brown, you put him with Devonta Smith, you put him with Goddard's hurt now, but
And we know Russell can
you
throw
put
a
him with
nice
all these
deep
guys.
ball, man.
Yeah, you can.
He
So
throws
I would
those
for the one
rainbows.
season.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
For
I
one
mean,
season. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I asked, because
Yeah.
I was curious to see what you said. Okay.
Yeah. And for this game, I put very little stock into the Eagles, folding against Carolina. I mean, that guy didn't drop that ball; they could have lost the game.
Oh my God.
Imagine
but
the
it
guy
kind
with
of-
the $3.1 million. He must have been
Yeah,
sweating.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
he probably thought honestly on that play, because I did. I thought they
That
won.
Gillette,
I thought they won.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And but it kind of felt like even before the game started, I just kind of felt like it was a bit of a trap. I thought the Eagles would be resting on their laurels. I thought they'd struggle a little bit in that game, so I wasn't terribly surprised. But I think they come back massive this game against the Steelers and make a real statement win and remind
Really?
everybody
Okay.
that they're. I do. I'm going to take them to cover the 5.5 here.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on here, I'm skipping a few of the weaker games. I'm going to skip over some of the. There's just some bad teams playing, but let's go to the Bucks, who are heading to LA playing the Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points, over under 46.5. What do you guys got?
Kind of like the Chargers here. The Bucks, to me, man, if you watch that game that they played against the Raiders, the first quarter it looked like they were going to win by 50. And then all of a sudden they couldn't do anything. And then the Raiders looked like they were going to win. And then the Bucks woke up and then they came back. I don't know. I think the Bucks are solid. I think they're a good team, but I don't know, man. What do you guys like here?
I like the Chargers.
I think the Chargers are a good team, man. I think the Chargers are really
I think they
kind
are
of a
too.
slept-on team.
Play really
Yeah.
good defense. I like the Chargers minus the 2.5. I think it's small. Again, home team in a pick 'em against the team that, no disrespect.
It could
to
be the
Bucks,
Chiefs this last week again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, the Bucks could beat the Chiefs too.
I know.
So
Yeah.
everybody, we could say every
a lot
week,
of teams
everyone
could.
could have beat the Chiefs, but nobody beats the Chiefs.
Half the
That's
league could have
problem.
beat the Chiefs, for
Yeah.
God's
Yeah,
sakes.
that's right. That's right. Tell you who would get blown out by the Chiefs, the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears are the only team.
You want the
That's
Chiefs
fair.
to cover a spread? Let the Bears play them. But yeah, I'll take the Chargers at home.
Okay.
Did the
I'm gonna
Bears
take-
lose to the Chiefs last year by like 60?
No, it was a couple. Yeah, you're right. It was last year. You're right. It wasn't
I think
60.
I-
It wasn't
No,
60.
I know.
But
it
yeah,
was
they
like
got their
30
their
points.
doors blown off. Yeah.
By a team
Matt-
that almost never does it.
Matt Nagy revenge game. So
I'll take the Chargers. I think they're a very good team. I'm really changed my tune on them. They just have one huge flaw is that they just fuck themselves by the end of the day. They fuck themselves out of winning football games. They do everything to get themselves in a position to win them, and they just cannot close. But that being said, at home against the Bucks, give me the Chargers to start. The later the season goes, the more they seem to be figuring it out, despite the loss last week. Give me the Chargers minus the 3 there. I do like them, especially at home. Let's move on to the Sunday night game. We've got Joe's Packers heading to Seattle, playing Pete Carroll's Seahawks. Green Bay's favored by 2.5 points, over under 45, 45.5. Yep.
What's the spread, Tick?
2.5.
2.5.
Seattle getting, Packers giving on the road.
The Packers are favored, yeah?
Yeah, 2.5.
I still like the Packers here.
I always feel like the Packers, though, just have a problem with Seattle. Why is that? Is that
Because they
not
have in the
accurate, Joseph?
past, but this Seattle team is so different than the Seattle
Yeah.
teams of old.
Yeah, no question.
There's
about
really not even the same coaching staff. There's no Geno Smith is the reason why I always bet against the Seahawks because I truly just don't believe him as a big time playmaker when the chips are in, he's the kind of guy who's bluffing. He doesn't have the big hand. And I just don't think that the Seattle team is that good. Now they've proven me wrong twice against these fucking Cardinals when I've taken them game of the week, but that just goes to show the Cardinals are frauds. I think the Packers are I think the Packers are due for a good game. I really do, and I think they're gonna roll here. I would take the 2.5. This was the other game I actually thought about being the game of the week, but I just couldn't possibly take the Packers this week after how bad I've been with my games of the week.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers this week against Mike McDonald's Seahawks.
No, yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
McDonald's.
and I'm gonna make it my game of the week. I
Oh, the pop.
So now your
I hope
Packers
to God
now
now
your
that-
Packers are really fucked, Joe.
I would have been
No.
better to take a Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have. I mean,
Jesus.
but you know what? Come on, man. They already got the bugaboo with San Francisco. Obviously, a much different San Francisco team, but that was a bugaboo for the Packers. I think they keep rolling, getting the bugaboo of the Seahawks off of them. Cover the 2.5. Head into Seattle. Take care of business. Now, if you know me at this point, we make these games of the week just because it's a formality. We've been doing it on the show for the beginning, but just don't listen. Don't take this bet. Take the Seahawks plus the 2.5. But my game of the week is the Packers minus 2.5. So, I mean, I started the season 3-0, and now I'm 5-0.
You're on
How
fire,
pathetic is that? How pathetic is that? All right, let's move on here to Monday night. We've got the Bears heading to Minnesota playing the Vikings. Vikings are favored by 7, over under 43.5. Gentlemen, who do you got?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota, you got to take. Just out of principle of how bad the Bears were last week.
The Bears defense literally just no-showed last week. And so when you no-show a game, it tells me this time of the year when you're out of playoff contention, like you're mailing it in. And honestly, at this point, I don't care. So let's get a top 5 draft pick again and do nothing with it. Let's go Bears.
This could be the game, though, where like the Bears just play really well. And it's a super close game.
I mean, if the
divisional game,
if the Bears are going to do that one more time this year, I would hope it would be in Lambeau, the last game of the year. But I can't say I'm going to take the Bears plus. Right now, it went down to 6.5 live on DraftKings, plus 6.5 Bears minus 105. I'll take the Vikings minus the 6.5 at minus 115.
They looked tremendous last week.
They're torching teams, man. And Darnold Darnold had a great game in Chicago against the Bears. Now, that game was a very close game. Bears were in that game. It went to overtime. But it took a lot for the Bears to get that game to overtime. In Minnesota, the Vikings are going to be wearing like this all white, like frost or winter snow.
It's pretty
outfit.
Cool, actually.
Pretty cool uniform. The Vikings may win this game by 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones is going to run all over the Bears like he always does. Darnold will pick them apart. Jefferson is heating up. Addison's heating up. Hawkinson's heating up. They're going to fucking flame the Bears. Should have made this my game of the week. Should have took the Minnesota Vikings. I'll take the Vikings though with the points. They're giving the points, I should say.
At this point, it just feels like the Bears are going to cover something. At this point, the narrative,
sick, bro. He picks the Bears every week. He's sick. He picks them every week.
It's a primetime game.
What does that matter?
Telling me.
Well, he's saying that all the public money would be on Minnesota is what he's saying.
I don't give a
think so many
who
people
cares?
Give me the Bears plus the
7.
Give me the Bears plus the 7.
Another one bites dust.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right, last game we got here, also Monday night. This one coming on 30 minutes later. The Falcons are heading. Yeah, the Falcons are heading to Vegas. I think we're getting a Desmond Ridder game, if I'm not incorrect there. I think we're getting Desmond Ridder out of the Raiders.
Desmond Ridder, but not with his old team, with his new team.
Exactly, the Desmond Ridder revenge game here.
This game is going to suck.
Atlanta's favored by 4, over under 44.5. What do you guys got?
I'll take Atlanta to bounce back. I don't know if Kirk Cousins can play any worse than he has played the last several weeks.
They had a little run there, Atlanta, where I thought they were going to be okay, but man, oh
Yeah,
man,
and
the wheels have come
he's
off.
throwing 2, 3, 4 interceptions a game now,
Yeah.
and they just don't look like they can stop anybody. It's a tough scene, but I do think that the Raiders are just another team. They've gone through 2 quarterbacks now. They're going to be on their third. They've gone through Minshew, O'Connell. Now they're under.
Desmond Ritter is playing. I mean, I thought Desmond Ritter was bad at Cincinnati. I didn't even think he was good at Cincinnati. So how the
He was with
fuck
the
is he going to be
Falcons
good?
last year,
How the
and he
fuck
was
is right? He was terrible. How the fuck is he going to do? I mean, and the Falcons probably know everything about the guy because that's where he played. I mean, Atlanta minus the 4, no brainer, no brainer.
That's who
Atlanta
I'd
minus the
take.
4.
Some of these guys who we've talked about this before, some of these backup quarterbacks who just trick head coaches because they must look fantastic in practice. They
Yeah, they're
must,
hard workers.
because they're hardworking guys because they stay in the league forever. And
They
every
must
time
buy
they
good
get an
Christmas
opportunity,
presents.
Yes,
I guess they do. I guess they do. Or they got dirt. Yeah.
Yes.
Give me the Falcons minus the 4. It just must be.
It just must be.
I mean, the Raiders with Ritter. It
Yeah,
says
no,
it all.
Joe, Tick, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, you want to move on here? Viewer questions? You want to run some of these? Okay. First question.
Questions.
Luke Matthewson wants to know: tailgate, fuck, marry, kill. Smash burgers, BBQ, like pork, chicken, all that, and
Ribs,
beer / cocktails.
Yeah,
I'm killing the smash burger. I'm gonna marry the beer and cocktails, and then I'll fuck with the barbecue. You got to have drinks if you're in a tailgate.
Sure. No, you can't kill the cocktails.
You can in any place, shape, or form. It's
I mean, you can
beer / cocktails. I mean, I think that's a no brainer. If you're going to a tailgate, you got to have that. Don't you think, Pop?
Give me 2 seconds here, guys. I'm going to marry the beer. I'm going to marry the alcohol. That's what I'm going to do right there. Okay, that's the obvious call right there. Smash burgers. I just don't feel like I see too many people with the at tailgates making smash burgers. I mean,
they're tremendous, but
they're tremendous. I just don't see them there. So I'll fuck the barbecue and then I'll kill the smash burgers. I just don't see them. I don't think it's a tailgate food.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fuck with the booze and I'll marry the barbecue and I'll kill the smash burger.
That's what I was, yeah.
Because the barbecue, I mean, really a tailgate barbecue, like unless you mean specifically like barbecue food, but a burger is a barbecue, like that is being barbecued. So,
I think like traditional like barbecue ribs, briskets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna fuck with that. The variety is much greater. So I'll marry the
poultry in there, some chicken wings.
Yeah. You don't know. I mean, you getting sausages, you got
everything.
Everything.
Smokies.
Smokies, little tacos, little fried chicken.
All right, let's do 2 more here. Let's go to Mike Bond next. He wants to know, what did the CFB playoff committee get wrong? I assume he means who should have gotten in and got screwed.
No, if anybody really got screwed, I think it went right.
They didn't get anything wrong. I mean, again, you lost. If you lose 3 games, I know the schedules are tough, but again, you can't. Bama fans want to cry up and down the row about the schedule they play, but you can't lose to Vanderbilt. You can't lose to unranked Vanderbilt. You can't do that. You just can't. And then that be part of 3 overall losses and expect to make the playoff. That doesn't work that way. And if that was another team and they got in, Bama fans would be complaining that they got in. So if a 3-loss Ohio State team got in, they would be complaining about that. If a 3-loss Penn State team got in, they'd be complaining. You can't do that. They didn't even want Indiana to get in. Indiana had 1 loss.
Indiana
to a top 5 team.
I said that to you before. Indiana should have been in. Indiana,
of course they should be in. Of course they should be in.
I don't think they got anything wrong. As I said before, I think if they would have put Alabama in, I think they would have
been
basically collapsed to the pressure.
Yes.
I think they did the right thing. SMU being in is right. I think, Clemson won their conference. ASU won their conference. All those teams that if you had any question about it, they won. They did what they had to do. They got the bye. So I think it's fair. I think the teams
Yeah,
that are there
you
should win.
can't
I
sit here
agree.
today as an Alabama fan and say you would automatically beat Boise State and Arizona State. You're just gonna sit here and say that there's no question if you squared off against either of those teams or SMU, you're gonna beat them, no question. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I couldn't say that about Ohio State, and Ohio State's only got 2 losses. And I could not say that Ohio State could play those teams and it's an automatic win. That's crazy. You can't say that. You just can't. That's
Yeah.
it's non it's that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Crazy.
I agree with both you guys. I believe they got pretty much it all correct
Could
based
Bama
on
beat
the rules
anybody?
that
Could
they
Bama
have.
beat anybody on their best
Yeah,
day?
they could.
Right.
Yes. Yes, they can. But that's not the
Yeah.
point. You lost 3 games.
They already beat Georgia, who's number 2 now.
Yes, don't
Yep.
lose 3 games, guys. That's the bottom line. Don't lose 3 games. Don't lose to Vanderbilt.
What do you think about Army, if anything?
I like Army, man.
They're not a team that
You know?
should be in.
They really
They got destroyed by Notre Dame. They
did. They
showed
got
the true colors.
steamrolled by
It
Notre
was
Dame.
never even close. They
The
didn't even
problem
try
with
to.
the problem with Army is they weren't high enough ranked quick enough to be up there fast enough in the middle
Right.
of the year. Because that Notre Dame loss probably wouldn't have killed them as bad if they had been as high ranked sooner in the year. They would have been built like if Army started the year ranked 20th in the country, by the time they would have played Notre Dame, God knows what their rank would have been. So it wouldn't have hurt as bad, and maybe they could have got in, but they didn't rank them preseason, and that cost them dearly.
Yeah.
Cost them dearly.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's do one more quick one and then we'll get out of here. This next one comes from David Click. He wants to know the go-to breakfast order at a diner.
Oh,
breakfast order.
Easy for me. I get it.
Normally do some kind of pancakes, I think, or I normally see if they have like an American breakfast, like eggs, sausage, or bacon.
Hungry man. The hungry man.
Like I love like you get 2 eggs, 2 sausage, 2 bacon,
Sure.
sourdough toast,
Sure.
The
some
Grand
fries.
Slam.
Yeah, that to me is you get a
Or
little bit of
they
everything.
call it the Hungry Man Grand Slam.
Hungry
There's a
Man
lot of it
Grand
goes by
Slam.
many names.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me,
Mike,
I
what
mean,
you got?
I like an assortment of beverages to start, which is really my wheelhouse. Like I like getting like a chocolate milk coffee and an orange juice and a water. Like
Whoa, that is
four beverages.
what? Where does the chocolate milk come
I'm saying
into
like a
play?
nice hungover breakfast at the diner is like, because I don't go to
Okay.
the diner that much, but
They normally have good orange juice. I agree with you,
Yeah,
and
and then-
coffee.
and then I'm an omelet guy. I like a big omelet with the
wow.
potato, the home fries, well done, little rye toast on the side, and I'm good to go. Just like that. That's perfect for me.
A lot of
Pancakes are
diners, I
better.
will say too. I don't normally go pancakes for breakfast, but if I ever did, it would be in like a diner setting because they do those big fucking huge.
Yeah, they're tough to
Those-
get down, man. They'll
Yeah,
sink
they're
you.
tough to go
The
down,
Diner
but
pancakes will
You
sink
get
you.
you get a good maple syrup and some butter. Those things go down real nice.
How bad would you
Yeah.
kill for a stack of pancakes right now, Joe?
I'm not that hungry right now, actually.
But
I
I'm
was-
saying, like, would you
Oh
want
yeah,
pancakes?
I would take one right now. I'd take one. Just one big old dollop.
Big old hot cake.
Yeah, sure.
Big ol'.
Pop, what's your play?
I was at a diner earlier today.
I was gonna say tickets to diner guy. Tickets
He was
to
wearing the
sure
United
am.
States Postal Office sweatshirt when he was
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he was.
Like Newman.
I'll say they don't all do this across the
Oh shit.
Oh, it's so good.
He always
They don't all
delivers.
do this well, but when you can get this done well, I think it's the best thing you can get for me at least is the corned beef hash.
Oh,
You get some
Yeah,
the corned beef
is
hash, 2 eggs over easy on the side.
Oof.
I mean, it's you can't beat it.
Let that yolk run.
Oh yeah, I got a little biscuit on the side too. I mean, it was fantastic. So that's my go-to order. But gentlemen, that's going to do it for another episode of the Sportsman. Sorry we're getting this one out a little late this week. It's always something with us, but we did get it out. A lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun. Looking forward to this week. Looking forward to not this coming week, but in a few weeks we're getting some bowl games. December 20th, I think, is when that starts. But until then, gentlemen, I will see you all next week.